Hey there, boys and girls of the YouTube world. Today, the Duff Dog and I are going to see if we can't get this old four-wheel drive Chevy pickup running for the first time in 26 years. That's right, 1998 this thing was tagged. Our buddy scrap guy Johnny said, hey, this thing's in the scrap pile at work. You want it? And I said, yes. So I think we gave him like 500 bucks to deliver this thing. And yeah, I love 67 to 72 Chevy pickups. Four-wheel drives, pretty rare, even in these parts. I think I had a 3/4 ton 69 or 74 wheel drive that had a flatbed on it years ago on the channel.
Oh, throttle stuck.
Stupid yellow pickup. But other than that, we haven't really had one. This thing is rough. She's real rough. But let's see if we can't get it rolling first, because it's missing a wheel, it appears, and two of them are flat. One's holding there. Let's see if it'll pump up. Maybe we can hook Bernie on it, drag it in the shop. Maybe we're gonna have to put wheels all the way around. Who knows, maybe we just throw a battery and drive it in. Anyway, this thing came from 47 County. I don't know where that's at. She's got the grill guard on it, aftermarket accessory. I have no idea what that lever is coming out of the hood, but maybe it's the hood latch lever. The hood is whammied in. It was a cattle pickup. You could tell by the way it's got a spotlight up top. She's got the old whip antennae. Looks like the windshield's seen better days as well. South Dakota had inspections at one point, so this thing was inspected 7th month of something. It's got the tow mirrors. She's a custom 10, which means that's the trim package, and it's a 1/2 ton. She's a V8 350 according to that emblem. Is that 350 in there, Duff? Of course, she's the 4-wheel drive model. Got the lockout hubs set to freedom.
Oh, freedom!
Wrangler AT by Goodyear, 235/75/15 extra load. White letters out. Looks like she's got power steering. The door handle isn't busted like they usually are. That bedside needs a little love. Hopefully that Wrangler pumps up. It's probably one of my least favorite two-tone color combinations. Dark green and light green. It appears as it was repainted very well at one point. I don't think these are factory colors, but the more I look at it, maybe they are. Looks like it had an auxiliary tank. There's our lever under the seat. Duff's checking out the interior. Like any good farm pickup, there's a bunch of 30-06 and 12 gauge shells laying across the dash. Even some on the floor. Heck, we even got some 22 250 Remingtons. Trailer brake controller. No factory tilt. No factory tack. No factory AC, but we do have a key. She's a 4-speed. I think these all had the NP205. Oh, that's right. Scrap guy Johnny picked up this Wilton vise for us, huh, Duff? The old bullet vise. Gun rack in the back with our sliding rear window, one pane busted out. There's the handle for our spotlight. Steel bed floors were still an option. This one did not get that option. She's got the optional wood delete package. There's a little wood left in there. Glass packs and twice pipes. Of course, she's got the aftermarket tow bumper and South Dakota mud flaps. The meth state.
I'm on meth.
I'm on meth.
I'm on meth.
I don't know if that was for leading bulls around. That's an old bearing race is what that is. That's pretty neat.
That's pretty neat.
This bed is just absolutely hammered. Both sides. The bad part is, this is the good side. She's the higher trim package. This is not factory trim, so I think it was painted at one point. Both doors open? Not a chance. This one's pretty KO'd. All right, let's throw the Milwaukee air compressor on and see if we can't get the front tires to pump up. If not, we got some chrome spoke spares, my favorite. Just kidding, not my favorite, but they'd really class this thing up a bit. We do have 3 matching Goodyear white letters. What a deal. Dang, look at all them weights on there. To be honest, I'm surprised that they're even balanced. Here we go. Does not sound promising. Yeah, she's definitely got the bead broken or a hole in the sidewall. Let's try the left rear. What do you smell over there? Anything good? Maybe that mouse you caught earlier. Killer. Hopefully this thing takes air, because those wheel studs are pretty rusty, huh, Duff? Super rusty. This one's gonna go, he says. We can't hear the air leaking out. What a deal. All right, I'm gonna go grab the telehandler so we can lift this thing up, throw some wheels on it. We interrupt your regular scheduled shenanigans to bring you this Mortske merch announcement. Flannels, we got them. You've wanted them for a while, and now we got them. Need something to wear to Thanksgiving dinner? Want to impress the old lady for Christmas? Need a spot to store your screwed for the holidays Mortske repair magnetic screwdriver? Got a really sweet dog that likes flannel shirts? Guess what else we got? We got people going topless. Just kidding, we don't really have that. But we got free Mortske shirts. We got a limited selection of these. Hurry up and get yours. Somebody who buys one of these shirts right now, either the flannel, or this shirt's gonna get my debit card. Yeah, that's right. The debit card from the Davidson County Jail. There's 94 bucks on this bad boy. Ain't even used it. Giving you the emblem, we autographed it, everything good to go. Bail money for the next person, so go ahead, go to mortske.com, get yourself a sweet flannel, or get yourself a free Mortske shirt, and you might get 94 bucks on a debit card. I mean, that's like a lot of flannels and a tank of gas on Mortske, so go check that out on mortske.com. But wait, there's more. We got sweatshirts, new ones. The old ones are on clearance, so get those too, but we got new ones. Yours won't even show up all dirty like this, unless you want us to, and Chin can rub it in the dirt for you, but go get that at mortske.com as well. Also, back in stock, low-life shirts, do shirts. Get them while they're hot. Oh yeah, it's Thanksgiving, so we got a Black Friday deal going on. Chin's got the details listed right here. Big discounts, huge discounts. Go check it out. mortske.com. So there you have it. Blowout sales on sweatshirts, old shirts, new shirts, red shirts, blue shirts, magnetic screwdrivers, banners, fender covers. You name it, we got it. If we don't got it, you don't need it. So head on over to mortske.com, get your Black Friday discount, get your clearance discount, get all the discounts. Now back to your regularly scheduled shenanigans. Want to pick that up for me, Duff? See if we can't pick up on the leaf spring and not get the oil pan or the radiator. Oh yeah, doesn't that look way better? Big old fat 15x8 instead of these skinny little 6.5s. Of course that left rear wouldn't take air, so hopefully this bumper holds up. We gotta swap them both out. Oh, we definitely gotta put our center cap in there. Really church it up. Can't put it on the front because it'll block our lockouts. Some nice guy, when they stole the wheel, they probably took this one because it was the only one that held air, but they left us the lug nuts. That was awful kind of them. All right, let's pull this one off and go put a couple tubes in. Ah, come on now. All right, all lug nuts are off. Oh, what the French toast. Oh, that's just playing the C-clip on the axle, no big deal. All right, big bar time. We got the 6-footer. Let's see if we can't pry this thing off. There we go. Okay, maybe it's 5 foot if I'm 6 foot, but anyway. Big bars make life easier. What does that saying go? With a long enough lever, man can move the world. With a long enough bar, Mortske can remove a rusty 6-lug Chevy rim. All right, we got this thing in the shop just in time. The weather got a little nasty starting after dark last night. Check this out, 20-some degrees this morning. I was gonna do something with that frame while it was nice out. Oh yeah, and it's windy too. And this silly white stuff is everywhere. And just 2 days ago, I was driving Rex, hauling tires, with the window down. I was wearing a sweatshirt, but anyway. Let's get into the olive drab. The what do they call the olives that you? The pit of an olive? I don't know. What's the name for this thing? Comment down below. Check this out. You can tell they were hauling it scrap. They threw a chain right over the top of the hood and the fender. Got both sides. And I hate just dragging a chain over a box side. These guys strapped the whole pickup down over the hood. All right, we know we got keys. Let's see if we can get the hood open. Duff's outside frolicking in the snow, so I gotta do it myself. And so yeah, one good thing about snow is Duff enjoys it. Me, not so much. Let's get the hood open and see what we got. I assume it's a V8. I don't know. I don't think I've ever had the hood open. I don't think he sent me pictures of the hood open, but let's do it. Is that what this is for? Oh, the old grill guard's got the notch for the hood. Oh, what do we got? Let's take a look at this bad boy. These things are notorious for rusting out the inner fenders from the battery, and they also rot out the battery tray, but these guys fixed her with some angle iron, and they didn't use a tarp strap to tie it down. They actually got some hardware in here. 2 red battery cables, Wouldn't expect anything else. No fan shroud, no clutch fan. Looks like it's got the factory straight center dump manifolds. The two-wheel drives, they were center dump, but they were angled. Four-wheel drives were straight. Looks like it's got the old Italian shut-off valve. Heater hoses got some type of disease to it. It's getting a little scabby there. It's got the long water pump. I'm not sure how these pickups work. It seems like half of them had long water pumps. Some of them were short. Who knows? Looks like we've got a quadrajet hidden underneath there. Looks like we maybe had a wiring fire at one point. Also looks like the mice maybe chewed some wiring off. Somebody has upgraded it to an HEI. That didn't come out till 74, 5, something like that, but 67 to 72, no HEI. 67 to 72 also had the alternator over here on the driver's side, and they ran the wire all the way over to the battery. Looks like our alternator's cracked out where it's clamped in place. There's our trailer brake controller, no power brakes. Does have power steering, as I mentioned earlier. Is our throttle linkage free? Oh yeah. It's gonna love it. I can't believe my scrap guy didn't steal a radiator out of it before he brought it here. This might be an easy one. I definitely shouldn't have said it might be an easy one. All right, let's pull the dipstick, see if there's any oil in it. I just set my light down. Look at that core support. This thing has had a hard life. That's been boogered up and welded. The grill's cracked out. There's some metal flake in this paint though. What a deal. Ooh, compression fittings in the brake line. Just what you want to see. They didn't even have to drain the oil to bring it to the scrapyard. Interesting. I'm guessing this lighter green was the factory color because you'd have to be a really good body shop to have painted the firewall. Oh man, this core support is just hammered. Oh, this was the battery hold down. This slid back and they had this flat strap over the top, and then the bolt came through there. What a deal. Real fabricator. How Rich is our battery sponsor this week. You too can be a battery sponsor at mortske.com. All right, this is gonna be long enough to flex that. Gotta spin it around. This one does have the bolt-on battery cable end. Let's clean that up first. No smoke. Always a good sign. Well, let's hit the key, see if she spins. Oh, they leave us a Marb on the dash. Oh, it's a Camel. Smoking kills, kids. Hey, there's the gas pedal. These things are notorious for falling off. Matches? Spare keys? Singular match? Oh yeah, it's the wood match. The best ones. I'll save that for Duff's birthday cake. Is that the stock off a gun? I believe so. Any other goodies up here? Leola, South Dakota. I think Leola is like the rhubarb capital of the world. Gripple. I feel like that's for wiring or something to do with electric fence or fencing. Barbed wire gripple, yeah. Barbed wire splice. The more you know. Radio Shack. TRC 483. Panasonic deck. Dang it, it doesn't have the matching one. Okay, what's this ball cap? Leola bar. Oh shoot, he's got the pointer on there. Maybe that is Duff Dog. What a deal, we better save that. Tell you what, somebody who orders a cap at mortske.com will clean this up ever so slightly with compressed air. We don't want to wash it because it'll disappear, but we'll throw that in a ball cap order. So somebody orders a fresh lid is going to get an unfresh lid as well. Maybe we'll throw it in a plastic bag so that it doesn't leak all over yours, and we'll autograph it for you too. So go get yourself a ball cap at mortske.com. What? Look at this. Everything you need up here. Well, pretty much just the pen and registrations, unless we find something else gooder. All right, just a bunch of old registrations. Looks like 90 through whenever they parked this thing in 98. This thing's got a name, Ronnie, or Peggy, Peg. Those are the people who owned it, so maybe we'll call it Ronnie, Redneck Ronnie. Oh yeah, we got in here to turn the key, and then I got sidelined. Out of gear. No lights on the dash. Nothing. These things don't have a clutch switch, but we'll try it anyway. Maybe the inside was repainted. They painted that bracket for the brake controller. Also, I don't think the park brake release should have been painted over. Can't tell when the oil was changed last. Custom window crank handle knobber spinner dealio. 5/16 bolt with a jam nut. Oh yeah, according to the registration, it's a 70. Yep, she's connected. Oh, and they painted over the accessory off on start. So yeah, that's definitely a repaint. Typical 67 to 72, they had some pop metal rivets back here and they break, so people got to put screws in their heater controls. Anything good in there? Probably not. Oh, remember these old Velcro clocks? What a time to be alive. You kids don't remember, but cars didn't come with clocks in the dash back in the day. I lie, they had clocks in the 50s, and then they kind of disappeared, and then they came back in the 80s on the square bodies. And now they're just all built into the radios and electronics and everything else. I don't even want to know what's under the seat or in the glove box of this thing. So the one thing to check on these 67 to 72s is there's a block over here. And all of your power runs through it. And I'm guessing without that hooked up, we're not going to have power to the cab. So our battery cable here just goes down to the starter, and generally speaking, there's a big wire coming off of the starter that goes up, feeds the cab. No, not on the 67 to 72s. They run this sucker over, and then I think it goes over to the voltage regulator, and then it goes inside the cab. So let's hook this thing up and then see what happens. Oh, this wire. Oh, it's been soldered to boot. Nice. Nice. Come on now. I still can't believe how awesome that design is. That thing's, it's kind of bent, but it was supposed to slide through. That is brilliant. You know, instead of just putting a bolt there. Real fabricators. All right. Squirrel. Back to the task at hand. Now let's see if we got power in the cab. I was trying to figure out what that noise was. Radio. Better yet, did we get any station? Oh, this was digital even. 5:30 a.m. How do we flip her to the FM? Oh, it's got Seek. What a time to be alive. I don't think we're getting anything. Probably because I thought I saw the antenna wire hanging down here. Yep, there it is. That's why we got no reception. All right, we got crankage though. Still no crankage. Well, I got a little funkage action. Let's clean up that battery cable and make a little bit better wire or a jumper wire or something for over there, and then try it again. This thing might be locked up, but I doubt it. Not as free as the carburetor was, air cleaner's on it, hood was on it, should be good. Oh, did you have fun outside in the snow? Oh my gosh. You're gonna show us your snowballs? That's awkward. I got work to do. I had to open this hood all by myself, and you don't even care. All right, I'm gonna clean up this mess and we'll check back. Doesn't that look a whole lot better than that? Yeah, literally all the power. Other than cranking the starter over, for this whole pickup goes through that wire, so you'll want a good one. And if you got a 67 to 72 Chevy pickup that's wired up original style, keep an eye on this. Also, there's an inline fuse in this harness that will blow and you'll lose everything. So if you're on the side of the road and this is still in good shape, check that fuse. It's this guy right here. And I believe it's only on pickups with factory deluxe gauge clusters, the 5 gauges versus the dummy lights with 2 gauges. The more you know. Let's get this wire put on there and then see what happens with the ignition switch. Never hit your battery with a hammer, only hit your starters with a hammer. Now let's see what happens. She's gonna crank right over. Still nothing, but we do have radio, so we know we got power into the cab. So we're just gonna go with the loser switch and bypass all that for now, instead of diagnosing that to find out that the engine doesn't run. So let's run this thing up in the air, get a look at the bottom side, and then we'll address the starter down there with a loser switch, see what happens. Wait till you see the bottom of this thing. Not gonna disappoint. I have no idea what was going on here, but a bunch of welding on the leaf spring mounts. That's not good. Hopefully there's no welding on the steering. These are drum brakes. Two-wheel drive got discs in 71. I believe four-wheel drive got discs in 71 and 2 as well, but I could be wrong. Oh yeah. Look at how slopped out everything is right there. Yowza. There's some bearings that need replaced. We'll just forget about that. She's a 44. You can tell by the way that it is.
This is an aspen. You can tell that it's an aspen tree because of the way it is.
Steering's tight. The bar's got a pretty good bow in it, but minor details. It's got the nice cast iron power steering bracket instead of the cheesy stamped ones they went to later on. And then it's got the SEMA front drive shaft. I can't imagine that the wear in the knuckles and the pinion and the splines. Look at that. She's moving on the splines around the nut. Yeah, she's used up. This side just as bad? Oh, no doubt. Yep. Wow. Maintenance? Never heard of her. These pickups are all so rusty. Cab supports are gone. Inner rocker's gone. Floor's gone. Rear cab support's gone. That's why this bed is sagging, is because the wood is part of what holds it in place. But the cool thing is, other than the glass packs, is this thing had triple tanks. The one in the cab, the one on the passenger side, and there was one on the driver's side until the plumber's tape let loose or something, who knows. So here's all of our valvage going on. That's how this thing got so wore out. It's because they could haul so much gas and that added weight and the additional capacity with the distances. These guys could probably go like 200 miles without having to get gas. Driver's side floor is even worse. Oh yeah, you can see they put a cab corner on and they lapped her over. Good stuff. Good stuff. Oh, there's even some sheet metal screws up there. Hopefully that's for the trim. Oh yeah, that's for the trim. Just cave and pave, DD Speed Shop style. How's the rear drive shaft? Other than being seized up. Needs a pinion seal like they all do. The old cast iron 205. And I think that's a NP, I don't know, I'm not even gonna say. Oil filter's been a few days since it's been changed. Inspection cover, sounds pretty mousy. Oh, this is what I was looking at when I lifted it up. The bushings have left the chat in the leaf spring, and the bolt going through has been welded in place and since has been sheared off. So that's not so good. This is why there ain't many four-wheel drives around here, is because people just abuse the crap out of them for years and then hucked them in the trash and drug them out and used them again. Park brake delete. We don't need that where we're going. Oh, the bumper's bolted on and welded and more welding, so solid work on the bumper. Little filler rod in there to hold the mud flaps. Classic South Dakota. She's been drug across some rocks, even bent up the rear diff cover pretty good. If this thing could talk, it would scream. Let's throw a loser switch on the starter and see what happens. Well, I think I determined why they parked it. Come along. Well, let me show you what I found. I love starters. You see that over on the right? That's the insulation, the coating on the starter wire. You see how it's not there? Yeah, I think it rubbed against the block and shorted out. So we're gonna go up top and we're gonna unhook the battery. And we're gonna pull the starter down and that cable off and see if the starter's any good. I think somebody put that new battery cable on, drove it for a while, rubbed through the block, melted down, probably melted the post off the battery. They put a new battery in it, went to hook it up, and then they just parked it. So we'll see. Hopefully that starter's still good. I wonder where the old battery went. Surely it had to have melted the post off. You gotta find the weak link and something like that. Usually it's the fuse those starter cables aren't fused. So safety tip of the day, make sure that your battery cables are routed properly, not going to rub against anything. They're out of the way of heat and moving components and stuff like that. Otherwise, it might melt to the ground. So anyway, I'm going to pull the battery cable off, and then I'm going to pull that starter out of there, and we'll see what we got. We got this starter out. I don't see any issues. She's a little rusty in there, but it still spins. We definitely seen worse. I mean, that's clearly the culprit. But check this out, it gets better. So I noticed when I was taking the starter out, the exhaust is awful wiggly, and wiggly exhaust means exhaust leaks. And that exhaust was blowing right on to our starter wire, so that couldn't have helped the situation either. That maybe melted the coating off, and then it touched the block, and that's where things escalated. Good news is somebody's been here before. They only had the purple wire hooked up. They disconnected the other wire for the points, so they did that right. But they sure taped her up real good. Since we're under here and we're already this close, I'm going to take this inspection cover off because there's always mouse house in there, and automatics don't really care, but when you got a clutch, you don't want a clutch full of mouse house because it's a good way to take out your clutch. And I know the front drive shaft's already unhooked, but I don't want to have to unhook the rear and the transfer case and pull the transmission and put a clutch in this. It's been a while since we did a clutch, and I'm all right with that. So let's pull this inspection cover off and see what we got. Oh yeah, bring me the mouse house. Oh, mostly just mouse fecal matter. No mouse house in there, that's good. We'll take it. It was just their bathroom. Not much mouse house in there, but a whole lot of mouse poop. Anyway, that's better than a nest. Or is it? Who knows? Let's check out our starter. You get the old jump pack and the loser switch. Let's see what happens. Here we go. Nothing. You know why? Because this here is a ground and it needs to be hooked up.
12 seconds later.
I bet it'll work better with a ground. Or maybe not. Whew. A little spurt of rust and dust. I think that'll do, pig. That'll do.
That'll do, pig. That'll do.
I don't know that this bushing's supposed to be popping out here, but we can tap that back in. Let me grab my bushing tapper. Good as new. I think I'm gonna grab a new red battery cable, throw this thing back together, see what happens. And I'm definitely gonna route it out of the way of the exhaust and from rubbing up against the engine. I still don't know why it didn't turn over or melt the post off my battery. I'm thinking this little sliver of insulation right here was between that and the block. Maybe this thing just got really hot one time or several times. I don't know. Either way, we're swapping that out. Would you believe it? This happens to be the longest positive cable in existence. And I don't think it needs to be that long. So we're going to try shortening it up because this is the only bad spot on it. I got this fancy Pittsburgh crimper from Harbor Freight years ago. I think I've only ever used it once. And I got this grip battery cable lug wire set from Max that I don't think I've ever used. So let's cut this thing, strip it, slide it on there, and I'll show you how this crimper works, or doesn't, because I have no idea. I opened the box, there's oil all over, so I'm guessing my crimper that I've only used once has a pretty significant leak, so hopefully there's enough oil in it to make the crimp we need to make. Here's the crimper I was talking about. Pittsburgh hydraulic wire crimping tool. We got our 2-gauge dies in there. You can tell by the way that they are. And you can tell that this is 2-gauge wire by the way that it is. Take our vice grip branded power slots here and trim that sucker up. Tell you what, we're gonna throw this chunk of cable on. We'll put a little note on there. I'm gonna send it in with somebody's order. Somebody's gonna get a nice chunk of don't do in their order. And then we're gonna take a real sharp knife and strip that back as far as we need to. I do not own a wire stripper big enough for these battery cables. And I'm sure you're supposed to put solder in there or something else to keep the greenies from sneaking up in there, but we aren't gonna address that. Is that? Oh, that's like some type of insulation or something. That's not green in the wire. We got our 2/0 by 3/8 eyelet. Slide that on there. I wonder if I got any heat shrink. Ooh, that would really be something. Come on, baby. Oh, bigger heat shrink. Well, can't find any of the right size heat shrink, so electrical tape it is. So, we just slip that in there, and we tighten the old thumb screw, which is already tight, and we just pump away. This might be a three-handed job here, or maybe use my dominant hand. That would be better. And there you go. One not factory-ish looking crimp, but we can use this cable again. How about that?
How about that?
I'm gonna throw some tape on this. I'll throw the starter on, and hopefully this is still long enough. So I got one quick question, and a quick Google search would probably answer this, but you see how this end is straight like that? The factory ends on these battery cables in GM had like a 90 degrees so that they didn't shoot up into the engine block. They just shot straight out from the starter. Can you buy those cables or those ends? I'm sure you can through some fancy restoration company, but I really wish they had them on the shelves at parts stores or Rock Auto or somebody carried them. But if you know the answer to that, if you know where you can get them, comment down below. Classic Industries or something like that, maybe? Because I really hate these straight ones. After having the 90-degree ones, way better. Oh, let's see if this battery cable is going to be long enough. Oh my goodness. Yeah. I could have taken another 2 feet out of it. Anyway, I routed it safely away from the exhaust, which if this thing runs, we should definitely fix that exhaust leak to prevent this from happening again. And plus it's a huge exhaust leak. But yeah, let's see if she cranks over now. Well, once I get it hooked up. Here goes nothing. It sounded like it went a little ways. You don't suppose we got a stuck 350, do you? Well, it ain't happening. We already got the inspection cover off. Let's run her up in the air and put El Jefe on the flywheel. See what happens. No way this thing's stuck. Okay. Son of a biscuit. Maybe that's why they... Oh! Maybe that's why they parked it. For cheese and rice. I don't get it. The carburetor was pretty free. Very free. Any rods hanging out the side of the block? None hanging out the side of the oil pan either. Cripes. What's going on here? Small black Chevy, this is supposed to be easy. Getting the big boy out here. There we go. Just needed a bigger bar, that's all. Oh, is the mouse house all at the top of the clutch? And the bathroom was at the bottom. They must have been civil engineer mice. Let's get that out of the way before it falls in my mouth. Oh, crap falling off the other side now. Now she's turning nice and free. Switching her back up to the old El Jefe here. Ugh. Got some compression. Yuck. Okay. I think it'll turn over now. It was just a little sticky. Just a lot sticky. Don't forget to fix that exhaust leak. This side's pretty tight though. Let's try that starter one more time. She's gonna zing over for sure. Also, I did disconnect the fuel hose, and of course there was some stinky fuel in it that got on my hand, and I'm gonna be smelling the rest of the day. So we're not gonna be picking that up from the fuel pump, shoving it into our quadrajet at least. Speaking of that, we should take the air cleaner off and see if the Mises made a nest in there. Well, at least it's got a wing nut on it instead of some square nut or nothing at all, or a hex nut. Any bets on if there's a mouse house in there? I would be willing to bet that there probably is. It ain't been open in a while. Still got that factory seal on it. Son of a... Oh, yeah. I win. It looks like they were carrying raccoon poops into there. Not what I would want to drag home to my old lady, but mice are a different animal. Oh, I forgot about the awesome carburetor spacers the old 67 to 72s have. I'm really going to try the starter this time. No more teasing. Well, it sounds pretty ugly, but it's turning over, and I can hear compression. So let's see if we got power going to our HEI. And if we do, we'll give her a shot of the old hot sauce and see what happens. So this pickup's got a throttle linkage as a rod. The 71s and 2s are cables. The 67 to 70s, well, 70 on down had a steel rod like this, but there's the bracket on the back of the quadrajet for a cable. So I'm guessing somebody probably swapped this whole engine, or maybe just this carburetor and bracket, from a later addition. Did somebody put some mouse repellent on the engine? You can guess how well that worked. Pull our wire off our HEI. And we'll go turn our key on, see if we got power. Of course, like I said, this thing isn't a factory HEI, so somebody converted it, and they just got a spade clip instead of the factory style connector. I don't like these because they fall off. But it looks like they got it wired up to ignition power and not running through the factory resistor, which is, I think, what this wire was. So that's good. Key is on. And we got power. Sweet. That pretty much means, unless our ignition module is bad, this HEI is going to fire. Let's just get that out of the way. Fill the float bowl with some hot sauce. Sprinkle a little in there. All right, see what happens. Slingshot, engage.
Slingshot engaged.
Dang you, starter. Well, we could stop putting fuel in there. Oh, she's gonna go for sure once we figure out why we can't get it to crank over. It's key to making an engine run. Get it to crank over. Oh, if it's our starter, we got a bad ground. Maybe let's clean up the connections on this negative cable a little bit. And by clean up, I mean just wiggle it back and forth, scratch it up a bit, and tighten it up. There we go. I suppose it could be in this connection here. It's never the clamp-on battery cable end, is it, Wes? And the old loser switch hooked up here. I feel like we should have put a different starter on it. Maybe it's just a sticky spot. Oh, no, that is not a sticky spot. Maybe our battery's dead. Son of a... It never ends with starters. Never. Not around here, anyway. Got old Milton out here. This might be our issue. See, we got nice 12 volts there. And then, bam! Oh, wait. It's working now. A minute ago, it was dropping at nothing. What the French? I thought I had it figured out. I was going to put a new end on this cable. I still am. And then we'll try it again. That would explain the slow cranking earlier, right? I don't get it. That starter's probably still bad, because every starter we touch is bad, right? I got sick of messing with battery cables, so I just put a brand new one on there. It's black. It's a hair too long, but it's better than being too short. See if she cranks over now. Weird. The old bolt-on battery cable end might have been a problem. I can't imagine how. All the green going on there. And this side is all rusty and no doubt green inside as well. I guess Wes was right. He's a smart feller, or as my grandpa would say, he's a fart smeller. All right, let's try the old hot sauce again, see what happens. Slingshot, engage. Now what? We were just turning over a second ago. Come on. For cheese and rice. Loose cable? I doubt it. Slingshot, engage. Ah, criminy. I guess we could clean up the block, clean up that ground. We'll check the suffix code on the engine block while we're at it. You know, maybe this is some 68 Corvette 350 horse 327. That would be something. Should be a pretty good ground. We're going right to the engine block. Well, that's the engine block. The cylinder head, which is held to the block by 17 7/16 volts. So, yeah. You don't get much better than that. Connections are all tight and clean. It's got to be the starter, right? Where is our suffix code? TWF. It'd be a lot cooler if it was WTF. Oh, you're not going to believe this. 76 350. 165 horse 4-barrel. Real ripper. Good news is we cleaned up our ground, so maybe it'll turn over now. If not, we're pulling the starter off. Slingshot, engage. Guess we're pulling another starter off. The same starter. Yay! Yay! All right, we got a fresh shoe starter on this thing. Let's see what happens. Slingshot, engage.
Slingshot engaged.
I would say the starter was bad. See if we can't get it to run just a little bit longer. Oh, she's definitely gonna go. Let's check that plastic fuel tank on that side and see how crappy it looks inside. We can peek down the one in the cab too, but plastic ones don't get rusty. In-cab tanks made of steel get rusty. And you don't want rust in your fuel, do you, Duff? I'm guessing the inside of this tank looks about like the filler neck. Yep. Maybe this tank is so full of fuel and that's what caused the bed to sag down. Let's take a look. Best bet might be to just put a boat tank in it, huh, Duff? Yeah. Well, just peeking in through the cap doesn't look too bad, but check this tank out. It's pretty neat. You can definitely tell they are designed for these pickups because it slides all the way to the front of the box, and it's got this cute little notch out for the leaf spring. I think what we're going to do is we're going to take it out of there and see if we can't look it over better, maybe clean it out and set it in the bed. Because obviously we got to do some modifications to our body lines over here. And hopefully we don't bust this tank up in the process. So if we get it out of the way, then we don't have to worry about that. Where is the fuel line even at? Oh, it's up there. There we go. The fuel hose, the old snipperoo. I wonder if it had a sending unit. I doubt it. I know. Sparks, fuel tank. Good combination. Whew. That'll make your butthole pucker. Don't worry, I smelled this gas. I don't think it's gonna burn. I think that explains all the crap sitting in that corner of the bed. We didn't have any bed floor, but the top of that fuel tank was holding it all. Wow, there's a little bit of bed floor, not much. This thing's kind of cute. I wish it had a sending unit built in, because then you could put this in about any Chevy long box. Obviously, you could hack a sending unit in it, but if you don't have a sending unit, then you don't know how much gas you got. So that seems kind of silly. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm starting to second guess this whole situation. I think we're going to just hang on to that for a rainy day. Because for as much as we're going to drive this thing, we're going to have to put a lot of gas in there to fill it up high enough to cover that pickup tube. But it's out of the way, and it's in a safe spot now. Just kidding, nothing's safe around here. But it most definitely is empty, so that's good. Don't have to worry about crappy gas in there. So the stock fuel line that goes to the fuel pump runs right about to here, and that's where she stops. It would usually go up in the cab to the stock tank, but it runs over there, and then there's a T over there, and then it goes to these tanks and that tank and all over the place. So I want our boat tank to sit right here. And as you can tell, not only are our body lines way off, but this bed is way off. So not only to make it look better, but in order to give us somewhere safe to install our fuel tank, let's do a little body by Mortske. Let's try to get this halfway level. Keywords. Is halfway one word? I think that's one word. Halfway. So I think I don't really have a good idea. Basically, you got our frame rail here and a frame rail there, and that's what everything's tied off of. There's these stringers, I call them. They go sideways, and then they catch the very edge of the box. So the edge of the box that it would sit on is rotted off. Plus, there would be the wood spacer. So I think what I'm going to do is try to get this up and level, and then somehow attach something to the front of the bed and go right off the frame rail. Keyword, try. How are we going to do this? If only we could just lift up one arm on the lift and just pick that up. I bet we could figure something out. Let's see what we can do. We can't hurt the bed anymore, can we? To be honest, it would probably just be easiest to take the whole bed off, but then I got to store it somewhere. I think the bed's got a little twist to it. So then what? We're going to have to get one side adjusted and then pull the other side down. Well, this is just silliness. You can see we're way too high on the driver's side. We got a color match ratchet strap. Let's see what we can do. Somebody's been here before. Well, we're pretty close to level, but it's wanting to pull the box that way, as you can see. But we can't pull straight down because I don't have an anchor in the concrete directly below us. That should get us our height setting, though. Or should we go over the top side of this bed? I wonder if we can do that. Let's try it. There we go, we're pretty good. Left and right, up and down. Fore and aft, not so much. Now it's wanting to pull the bed back. We don't care about that. We're not going for perfection. I know it's got a SEMA front drive shaft in it, but we're not going for SEMA bodywork here. You know, I'm half tempted to just get another ratchet strap, block the other side to where it needs to be. We'll see how classy we're going. I got an idea. It's about 6 inches between the bottom of the bed here and the frame. And I got about 4 inches wide. 2x6 is 1.5 wide. So if I take two 2x6s and somehow sneak them in there, then this bed can just rest on those. We don't have to do any welding. And we could probably still throw a strap on there so that it doesn't go up, because the boards will keep it from going down. Now we just need some 2x6s. And we need them to be roughly 34 inches wide. Let's see what we can find. Look at how much better that looks. Well, you guys probably can't tell, but I sure can. Also notice that back window is Lexan on this side, and this side was glass before it was broke out. So both sides have been broke out now. Well, we found this gem in our stash. It's 6 feet long, so we can get both pieces out of one piece. We're gonna trim this split, cobbled up thinger here off. Carpentry skills really paying off here. Now we just got to figure out how to get these bad boys wedged up underneath there. I got an idea. Work smarter, not harder, kids. Man, I wonder if I could screw them together and then drop them in. And then I'd have to try to screw them together when they're in there.
Brains.
Maybe not. Maybe just one. One, and then we screw one to the top of it. That'll get us 7.5 inches high. We only need 6. You know what, just for S's and G's, let's test it out. I'm doing body work here, come on. This is important. Push down on your side. I think we're a bit high. This is like DD Speed Shop if they had wood in Canada.
It's like a schmoo.
It's instead of schmoo, the schmoo just comes right out of the tap. Schmoo, it's really just maple syrup that he's smearing all over. Well, that was a fail. We'll make some clearance, Clarence.
2-4.
We have clearance, Clarence.
Roger, Roger. What's our vector, Victor?
Gonna nip off these, I don't know, bed rails, runners, strips, bed strips, so that we can get this other board in there. I don't need a 1x6. We ain't got any of them around. You know what? This is stupid. In case you weren't aware.
About 6 1/4.
Remember how I started out with a 6-foot board? Well, I brought 2 of them in. I think I got some idea. Oh. There we go. Don't be afraid to dent the bedside. Here, want a hammer?
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
We're wood hacks now. That ain't going nowhere. Nailed it.
Nailed the construction.
Except for we got it in there too tight. Now it's... we might have to trim her off. Use that hammer as a pry bar now. Using a tape measure is what got us into this situation. A little bit more. That's pretty good, huh? I just gotta go either way. No? Or what?
I feel like that's acceptable.
Oh, it's definitely high. This side's good, though. There might be a slight tweak to the box.
I like that you found them matching
Ratchet strap?
strap for this.
You're dang right. We're going all out. SEMA drive shaft, SEMA body work. We're gonna hook this in that stake pocket. If this thing had a rear SEMA drive shaft, we could just go underneath, but... the body line's still way off, though. How come? Keep reefing on it, see what happens. Or is that it? There! That's it. That's solid, too. Fwang, yang, 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 yang.
Yeah, actually. The trim line is only about 1.5 inches off.
Oh. We'll have to find a thinner 2x6 if only they made such a thing. Oh, yeah. That ain't going nowhere. Like Chin stated, it's about 1.5 inches too high. Weird, because there's 1.5 inch 2x6 in there. But she's pretty solid. And yeah, you know, it's good enough for the girls we go with. Let's get a boat tank in this thing, strap that down, and see if we can get it running again. Shoo, look at that setup. You got her tarp strapped down. Ain't going nowhere.
He's going nowhere. Where you going? Nowhere.
Hooked up our little 12-volt lift pump. Would you believe it? We got a leak. She's pouring out the weep hole on the back of the old fuel pump. So, instead of replacing it, we're just going to see if it'll run good enough on that pump for what we got to do. Otherwise, we got to bypass it and use the electric pump or put a new pump on it. Let's hope it works just good enough to not start a fire, you know, because leaking gas right next to that giant exhaust leak. Exhaust leaks, fuel leaks, they go well together. Well, I don't know if we're not getting any fuel or if our carburetor's just not carbureting. We're getting accelerator pump action, so that means we're getting fuel up to it, or had fuel up to it. How rounded off is this guy? Pretty rounded off. About to be even more rounded off. See if we're getting pressure with our mechanical pump. It would appear not. I'm gonna give her a couple cranks just to see. She pumped a little fuel out. Should be pumping. Yeah, we're not getting enough fuel up there. So now we need to determine if we put on a new fuel pump or we just bypass it and go electric. What to do, what to do. Hook our PCV up. You're welcome, Greta. I tell you what, I think this GM's worth it. I'm gonna go grab a new fuel pump off the shelf. We're gonna do her up real nice.
Really nice.
Throw a fresh Chinese, whatever they are. They're like $16 off Rock Auto. So you know they're good. New fuel pump's on. A couple things to note. There's a threaded hole right here, and you can run a 3/8 bolt in it to hold your fuel pump push rod. There's no bolt in that, and usually there's oil leaking out like mad when there's not one in there, so I can imagine we'll see an oil leak there. Second thing is another leak. The lower radiator hose is leaking off the water pump. Looks like it's just barely hanging on. Good news though, means we got coolant in it. So I'm gonna try to snug that up. And then we'll go back up top, see if we can't get some fuel up the carburetor. Fuel pump's on, coolant leak is slowed down. Let's see if she'll run on her own. Probably gonna take us a bit to get the fuel up there. Ooh, longest we've had her running. Come on, baby. Definitely don't sound like she's hitting on all 8. It also cranks over like we got a couple of dead cylinders, but let's check the obvious. See if we got any spark plugs that are not hooked up or chewed up, maybe in the wrong spots. These spark plug wires look like they're all in good shape and they're all in the right firing order and on the right cylinders. So it's not something easy. All right, this thing runs way too poor to even attempt to take it on the road. So let's pull some spark plugs out, take a look at those, see how they look, and then maybe we'll do a compression test. But maybe not. See what happens. All right, cylinder 1 looks a little like she's been consuming some oil. The rest don't look bad at all. Looks like we got some Champion J8Cs. This is the 13/16 hex plug that they came with on the points ignition, so hopefully they're gapped out to 45 thousandths as opposed to 35. Well, we got them plugs out. Let's do a little compression testing. Is this the color that yours was?
No, mine was a darker green.
Kind of like that?
Well, yeah.
This ain't the same.
Huh?
This one ain't the same color, huh?
What do you want to crank it over?
Crank it over and I'll write down compression numbers.
Okay.
125. That's pretty good, huh?
All right.
125. We're staying consistent.
Okay.
We got 50 on that one. All right, let up on the clutch. All right. 110. All right. That's good. Okay. Holy, 145. Okay. 140. 125. All right, we pretty much got 125 across the board. 5 is a 110, 7 is 50, 2 is 130, 4 and 6 are 145 and 140. So everything's pretty good, except for number 7. So let's pull the valve cover off on the driver's side here and take a peek in there just to make sure everything's doing what it should. Let's get the rodent poop off the valve cover before we remove it. Inside of the old valve cover looks pretty good. A little orange high temp silicone on there. But at least they only put the silicone on one side of the gasket. Which heads are these? What are you? 4. What is it, 441s? 441s. Everything looks clean in here though. Let's make sure them valves are going up and down. Go for it. Okay. All right. Well, it's 60. You want to try putting some oil in it, huh? You think I'm going to be able to get that to spray oil in that very back cylinder. I don't know if you're gonna get your oil can back now. Nah, I might have got some in there.
One of these with a little rubber hose on there.
Oh, I got her in there now.
Okay.
Okay. At about 70, got better. So what does that mean, valves? If oil don't make it much better?
Right.
All right, put a little oil in that cylinder. It got a little bit better, so that kind of tells us it needs a valve job. It's not in the rings. Got up to 70, just below 70 PSI. They are 393-2441 heads, which is a 194 intake and a 150 exhaust. They're okay heads, not bad. 72 cc chambers, so pretty low compression. 69 to 72 heads, so they would probably be numbers matching style heads. But anyway, I'm gonna throw some brand new J8C champions in there. I'm gonna gap them to 45 thousandths for HEI, and then we'll see how she runs after that. And probably put the valve cover back on so we don't get oil spraying all over it. In the cab, it did say it had all kinds of oil pressure, so that's good. So one thing I did notice when Mojo was pushing the clutch, the whole cab was going up and down, so the cab mounts are shot, and he was playing around with the steering wheel. The lower bearing in the column is MIA. We've also developed a power steering leak now that the engine runs and is pumping power steering fluid around, so. She's a gem. You should own this thing. Hit us up, mortskerepair@gmail.com. Price and availability in the video description, because short of finding a little bit better body and putting on this thing, I don't know what we're going to do with it. And then even at that, it needs a front drive line. The front end needs to be gone through. The chassis needs a lot. And obviously we got a weak hole. He said the clutch push is really stiff, hence why the cab going up, so. If you want this thing, you got a project ahead of you. All right, I'm gonna get those spark plugs thrown in there that I talked about moments ago and haven't done yet. New champion plugs are in, plug wires are hooked up. Check this out. This is what I found when I was putting them in. Way down here, the old inner fender core support. That's where he kept his spare quart oil. Looks like Citgo brand. Hopefully it's not power steering fluid. Who cares what it is? I rattled it. It's empty, so we're just going to leave it there. The cups, the fender cups on these pickups are notorious for rotting out, so that'll help now that it's plastic. I know they didn't fix the compression, but let's see how it runs with new spark plugs in it. Let's bump up the old idle over here. Well, it runs quite a bit better, but I don't know if it's the timing or the ignition or that terrible carburetor, but we're going to dig into it some more. But a buddy called me. He was filling up his pickup with gas, and he was kicking the ice off the tires and kicked the valve stem. Blew the valve stem off. No spare, no jack, no tools. So we're going to go rescue him. And then we'll get this thing running better. Or we won't. I don't think your cord's quite long enough. Story of your life, huh? All right, we'll see you out there in a bit. All right, we're going to put a new valve stem in there for him and get him patched up. He said he's got new tires, but he's waiting to put them on until he uses all the tire up. She's a little brisk out there, Duff. You were no help. All right, we're going to put a valve stem on for him and work on something of our own. We don't do customer work, but we'll help our buddies out. when they're idiots and they kick their valve stems. All right, we're back from fixing tires, and I adjusted the timing on this thing a little bit. Well, I got the distributor loose, and I took the cap off. Everything looks good in there. It's old, but it ain't all corroded up. But we'll play with the timing a little bit. It seems like she's a little retarded. We could say that with timing. So I'm gonna go ahead, advance it a little bit, see how she runs now. Or Duff's gonna check her out, one or the other. I'm really not a proponent for adjusting timing on something that was parked, because usually they weren't parked because they were out of time, and they don't just go out of time, but it's pretty much the last thing to try before we get into that quadrajet. I think it's better, but it still sounds like it's got a dead hole or a big miss. Well, we bought one of them Amazon quadrajet things a while back, and it worked pretty good. It worked really good on the old Charger Daytona. Anyway, I've had this thing listed for sale for a couple of months. $2,000. This thing's like a lot of car for that, and nobody's bought it. So we're gonna steal the carburetor off. I tell you what, hit us up, mortskerepair@gmail.com. You give us $1,000, and you can have this one owner Dodge Daytona Charger. I think it's a 78. It's a pretty nice car. Needs a couple grand thrown at it. You can't drive it home. Radiator hose blew? I think that's what it was. So yeah, that's not good for business. But anyway, it needs tires, exhaust, all that stuff. And you got to rebuild the thermal bog. But it's cheap. Hit us up, come buy this thing, get it out of here before it's buried in a snowbank and the mice have made a home inside the intake. Anyway, Duff's out hunting, so I'm gonna pop the hood. I'm gonna steal my quadrajet from Amazonia back. I see what you're hunting. There's rabbit tracks everywhere around here. Nobody's bought that thing. This thing's sold, but the guy has yet to come get it. So we're gonna have to send him some more storage bills. That's not for sale, that's not for, never mind that long bed Dodge box conversion thing. Oh, we gotta get our Mojo Magic battery out of here too. Ugh, glad we checked this thing out. It's got a fresh oil filter on it. We changed the oil on this thing. That never happens. Don't think we're gonna change the oil on the Chevy that's in the shop either. Ugh. Ugh. All the lean burn wires are in the way. Oh, I never accounted for the throttle conglomeration linkage stuff. I don't know if we're gonna be able to get that off without the tools. Okay, we'll give her a whirl. I really don't like just taking the easy way out and swapping carburetors, but this car isn't moving and this carburetor should be in the shop so we can use it somewhere else, or at least it's inside when we need it and it's not buried in a snowbank. Look, still got gas in it. And obviously, if nobody's buying the car, it doesn't need a carburetor. How are we gonna get that cracked loose? Same way it went on there, right? Is that turning? Sure. There we go. Always bring your locking pliers with for mobile repairs. Yeah, this car is a pretty good car. 400 in it, had okay power. You can't beat the way these, what do they call them? The mayonnaise era cars, the way they drive. Pretty good. Pretty good. And they got all the amenities like cruise and AC, power steering, power brakes, disc brakes. And it's a Daytona. Come on. Definitely shoulda brought something to plug the intake. I'll take that back. We're taking the gasket too, sorry. No more power love around here. That'll keep the mice from nesting in there. Good old lean burn. There you go. Drop half the price when I steal a carburetor. Come get this thing. It's pretty solid from what I remember. Got all the rallies on it. Beauty rings. Two-tone with the pinstripe. There's some new old stock pinstripes in there too. Oh, we're missing one beauty ring. Hit us up, mortskerepair@gmail.com. Duff says, we want it gone. That thing finally sold too. The old truck guy had to sell it on the eBay for us though. As you can tell, hasn't come to get it yet. Starting to see a trend here. We got enough snow, we got some drift action. We're gonna put the old Hepburn Hick away for the winter too. Another battery sponsor. Getting them all this week. Got the old Chroma Bog installed. Let's see if she runs better now. So pretty much we're at the point of, we gotta do plugs, wires, cap, rotor, distributor, and tear apart the engine and add compression. So this is as far as we're gonna go, because I'm not doing all that stuff. The ignition stuff is not gonna fix the compression, and we're not tearing that far into this motor to do a valve change. So hopefully carburetor takes care of it, because this thing worked really good out of the box. I would approve. I can't remember how much they were. $50, something like that. Maybe they were half that. I don't know. Chin's probably got a picture down there at the bottom of the price, but they're pretty good. We need to throw it on something that we drive regularly and see how reliable it is. Carburetor was definitely an issue. She's pretty dang smooth now from what it was. So we need to go through that quadrajet. Remind me to do that before we put it on anything else. Chin needs something to do anyway. He likes tearing those things apart. Oh, we don't got any brakes, so we'll address that next. The clutch works. Oh, we got it unstuck. I think it's stupid. You just stop us when it reverses. Bash into that. Broke it loose. Good to go. Let's throw some brake fluid in it. Throw it up in the air. See if we can use some brakes. We do have a force to slow us down with the clutch, but brakes would be nice. Chin came over, helped me bleed some brakes, and believe it or not, we got brakes. So, we're ready to go take her for a rip, see what happens. Tires all hold there, brakes work, topped her off with coolant. It's got oil in it. It's got a full 3 gallons of gas. Should be able to make it at least 10 miles. All right, we're gonna go have some lasagna at the schoolhouse and Dell manure for lunch. I'm gonna go take this thing for a test drive. All right, we got that thing backed outside. May have done a neutral reverse dump. Shot a little rust out the tailpipe. Chin's like, it spins both tires. Sure enough, we checked the skid plate, and she's got a factory posi. And it was light olive and white originally. But we also found some other goodies in there. We'll throw these in the in with the merch people buy this week. It's like a Pontiac hubcap center, something Pontiac. And the old Co-op tire scraper was in there as well. There's a hatchet too, kind of like homemade. We aren't gonna ship out a hatchet, but I'm gonna go round up the Duff and we're gonna go for a test drive. I'm gonna bring my gloves just in case. Ready to go for a ride in this thing finally? Oh yeah, you are. Old Ronnie. Load up. There's the hatchet I was telling you about. The handle's definitely homemade. The old rocker panel. Got a lot of tweakage to it. Hard to shut the door. Oh yeah, little play in that steering column. Here's the hatchet I was talking about. Makes me think of the Braves chant song. Whoa! You're gonna put the hatchet through the roof. Settle down, I got a sharp object here. Are you threatening me? Are you threatening me? I'll put the hatchet down. Okay. All right, test drive. Let's do this. Reverse. Oh, I want to put that dart in my mouth so bad, but look at this. Loman camo makeup. It's even got a little mirror in there for doing your makeup and for doing other things in your hot rod pickup. Who knows what Ronnie was up to? I did look. Ronnie served our country from, I think, 71 to 77, so we can appreciate that about Ronnie. He passed away in 2023. I imagine they were cleaning out his yard, and that's how this thing ended up at the scrap yard. But it said they had a celebration of life at the Legion Bar, so maybe we'll throw that in there. A legacy of Ronnie's and the old Bic pen from the Legion Bar into the Mortske merch grab bag. But anyway, they had a celebration of life, and it said to dress casual, and camo was encouraged. So Ronnie was a camo man. That's all right with that. Nothing wrong with that. All right, let's do this. These Amazon carburetors, like I said, we got to put one on something and get some miles on it. But they seem like they run real good. A little chilly backing up with no window. Power steering, not so good. I didn't want to dump fluid in it because you saw how it spewed out all over the floor. Yeah, well, if I dump more in, it's probably going to do the same thing. Brake check. Oh, yeah. They're there. Oh, it's that time of year where if you got a brake dragging, you're going to have a problem because it's icy. All right, let's take her out on her maiden voyage. Oh, I love the old clunky GM 4-speeds. And exhaust leaks. I think I like fluid leaks more than I like exhaust leaks. The old bed's just a clanging and banging back there. Literally held on with a tarp strap and two very loose bolts. Tarp strap, ratchet strap, way classier. Ooh, the washboards are gonna be a real treat with this bed banging around. You know, if a guy knocked the big dents out and put a window in it, fixed the exhaust leak, you could maybe use it as a wood hauler. But like everything we got around here, it needs fuel tank and tune-up and exhaust and wheels and tires and brakes and glass. And since it came from the junkyard, it doesn't have a title. So yeah, my only thought with this thing would be to put a better body on it. And we got that 69 and a couple 67s, but they're not that great. And I'm not a four-wheel drive guy, so, and plus the front end's got to be gone through, suspension needs a drive shaft. This chassis needs a lot of work for what I want. So somebody buy this thing. Shin and I were talking at lunch. I paid $700 for this thing. There's a brand new carburetor. It's been on two other vehicles, but probably doesn't have 20 miles on it. So, yeah, you want to own this thing. Price and availability in the video description, but $1,500. And you can have yourself the start of a real nice 1970 Chevrolet four-wheel drive posi traction rear project. I mean, it's kind of got brakes. It's kind of got exhaust. It's already got the HEI. It's got a lot of things. It's also missing a lot of things. But yeah, it's a good, man, these things were bringing money when I was a kid. I remember probably about 25 years ago, I just got my license, and there was one of these things, and it was on the wrong chassis. It was on a square body chassis. And I think it was like $3,000, we'll say. And I was like, man, that is an absolute steal. And that was 25 years ago. And it was in the green sheet. So it was sight unseen. So who knows how bad that thing was. But 67 to 72s have always brought money, it seems like. And there's nothing wrong with them. They're good pickups. Hear that noise, Duff? Got gobs of oil pressure. Hopefully we don't have to have Bernie come rescue us. We definitely didn't check the transfer case or the transmission for oil. And something down here sounds kind of growly. Maybe it's the clutch. Engine seems to be running good, so I'm sure it'll be fine. Needs a windshield too. It just needs a whole different body. Like, let's be honest. The doors might be the best part of the whole body. Hood's whammied. Bed is hot garbage. Cab is rusty and smashed up. Core support's busted into 3 pieces. Really, the posi is the main thing you got going here. And 4-wheel drive, I suppose. Or it's the start of a 4-wheel drive. There's no drive shaft. You get a transfer case and a front end that are both worn out. I don't hear that noise. Maybe it's only 4th gear. Oh yeah, there it is. It's just 4th, so only run it in 3rd. You'll be fine. Yeah, she sounds growly. Somebody please come buy this thing. I always get people messaging me, seeing stuff in the background, and guys have messaged me about this thing, and I said, hey, you gotta wait until the video comes out, because I don't know what it is or how good it is, so I can't set a price. And then when the video comes out, you'll be able to see, you know, what it is and how good or bad it is, and we'll go from there. So we'll see if any of those tire kickers actually show up and buy this gem. I think I should have not test drove it. That tranny is not happy. It's only when you got a load on it though, and in 4th gear. So, yeah. You're not gonna be driving this one home. Right, Duff? All right, that's a good enough test drive for me. Get her on the highway and head her for the hills. The old 350 runs a lot better than I thought it was gonna. Amazon quadrajet for the win. We should just do a whole video about those. We'll get Chin, our in-house quadrajet expert, to tear it all apart, inspect it, tell us how great or not great they are. Weird, the transmission's not making noise anymore. Fixed it. No speedometer. Says it's charging though. Temp's not coming up, so I'm guessing that. Oh yeah, I saw the wire hanging there. So yeah, the temp gauge is not working. Coming in hot. It's not dieseling, so it'll start back up. Won't even touch the gas pedal. I bet she goes. Amazon, quadrajet, and an HEI. Best combo ever, Duff. There you go. Successful drive. Not too shabby. Well, there you have it, folks. The Duff Dog and I got a 1970 Chevrolet 4-wheel drive out of the scrapyard and running and driving for the first time in 26 years. She put up a pretty good battle. We had to work on pretty much everything on this pickup, and there's a bunch of stuff that we didn't work on that still needs work. So yeah, thanks for watching. Go check out the merch, mortske.com. As I stated earlier, we're gonna have a nice Black Friday sale going on. I hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving or whatever they call it, wherever you're at. But yeah, go check out that merch. We got some discounts. We got the new sweaters available, and we got the new flannels available, and we got a new Mortske magnetic screwdriver available. We got super scrapers, we got fender covers, we got banners, we got beanie caps. We got all the stuff to get you ready for the holiday season and the holiday weather. So go check that stuff out. I appreciate it. Like I said, Black Friday sale coming up. We're gonna have a Cyber Monday sale coming up the Monday after as well, but we'll announce that in next week's video because that'll come out on Cyber Monday. So appreciate you all. Thank you so much for watching. Go check our other videos, like, share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Duff and I can't thank you enough, but we got to get on to the next one because we put way too much work into this one and now we're going to be behind. So remember, it doesn't matter how you get it done, as long as you're having fun. 67 to 72 Chevys are real good. 4-wheel drives, pretty good, all right. Looks like somebody was doing donuts in the yard with their tractor and drag mojo. Atlanta Braves theme song. Theme song, the chant. Oh, oh. Crap. Lost the camera. Get rid of all that hawk tool, Duff. Too much hawk tool? Is there such thing as too much hawk tool? Yep, definitely too much hawk tool.